look, everyone's working hard to make sure the bridge is open as soon as possible. There's no big drama. If it takes a little longer, it'll take a little longer, but this will benefit Canadians, Americans, business, tourists, residents for decades and decades. Je peux parler en français, mais c'est pas nécessaire de faire ce bruit-là. Alors, tout le monde travaille fortement pour que le pont soit ouvert aussitôt que possible. Il n'y a pas de drame. Si ça prend un peu plus de temps, ce sera le cas. Et il y aura des bénéfices pour les Canadiens, les Américains, des gens de Michigan, de l'Ontario, des touristes et de la commerce pour les décennies à travers.
President Trump about the bridge.
Poilievre, ce matin, dit que le train de Alto est trop cher. Ça va coûter des milliers de dollars pour chaque famille, les mères monoparentales, les familles de quatre qui ont de la misère à joindre les deux. Qu'est-ce que vous dites à M. Poilievre? Qu'est-ce que vous dites aux Canadiens pour justifier un projet à 90 milliards de dollars?
Écoutez, je vais laisser le ministre des Transports s'exprimer là-dessus, mais du côté conservateur, je vois encore un autre flip-flop. Regardez, je veux dire, ce projet-là, c'est un projet d'intérêt public dont on parle. Écoutez, dans mon coin de pays, ça fait 2 décennies. C'est de notoriété publique. Mais pour les détails, je vais laisser évidemment le ministre des Transports s'exprimer.
Est-ce que le Canada a
Listen, the Gordie Howe Bridge is a great. It's going to be a great moment for both countries. I just want to say that. I was infrastructure minister at the time, and for me, it is also a reflection that on both sides of the border, we understand that these kind of assets will improve the logistics. I'm always, when I go in Washington, I'd love if you come with me, but you'd be surprised. I always say, hope you're happy to see us because we're the largest customer of the United States. And 2/3 of their states have Canada as the first export market. So that's really an asset which is, in my view, embody why we need these assets between the two countries, because it makes us more competitive, and I think there's a reflection that a decision on one side has an impact on both sides.
The U.S. letter to Canada about the future of CUSMA, what did it signal?
We always engage with our colleagues in the United States. I met Secretary Besson at the G7. Minister Blanc is doing that. We're pushing hard. We're pushing hard to defend our industry, our workers, and again, making the case that it's in both parties' best interest to be able to progress these issues on sectorial matters, because what we have is what the United States needs. So.
Du TGV, advenant que le gouvernement de l'heure ne veut pas du projet. C'est sérieux comme question, c'est le plus
Regardez mon sourire.
Sur le prix, vous engagez-vous si ça ne dépasse pas 90 000?
Oui.
Bon, les douaniers canadiens ont des craintes par rapport aux opérations de prix contrôle à la frontière. Ça va être annoncé prochainement. Je sais que ce n'est pas votre dossier.
Non, mais j'ai...
Est-ce qu'on peut faire confiance à une collaboration avec les Américains pour les opérations de prix contrôle?
Ben, écoutez, nous, on a fait ce qu'on avait à faire de notre côté de la frontière, c'est-à-dire on a rajouté 1000 agents frontaliers parce qu'on est très conscient de l'importance de bien protéger notre frontière. Et je pense que la coopération entre les agents frontaliers des deux côtés de la frontière, c'est à l'avantage et du Canada et des États-Unis. Donc moi, j'ai confiance qu'on va trouver terrain d'entente. De notre côté, on fait notre part. On a rajouté 1000 agents de la GRC, 1000 agents frontaliers dans ce dossier-là.
C'est quoi qui achoppe? Qu'est-ce qui fait que le projet est continuellement retardé? Vous dites on va...
Je pourrais pas vous donner les détails précis de ça, mais je pense que les gens et les acteurs du milieu réalisent l'importance de travailler ensemble. Vous savez, les questions de transfrontalières, particulièrement entre les États-Unis et le Canada, ça fait des décennies, voire même plus longtemps, qu'on collabore, et c'est dans l'intérêt des deux parties, justement, parce que les enjeux qu'on essaie de contrôler sont des enjeux qui touchent plus qu'une juridiction. On le fait même au niveau du G7.
Mais là, il y a des craintes par rapport à d'éventuelles collaborations avec l'AIS pour les douaniers canadiens. Vous répondez quoi à ces craintes-là?
Moi, je dirais on a toujours été capable de défendre les valeurs canadiennes tout en coopérant avec nos partenaires américains.
Merci. Pour l'âge des médias sociaux.
Je dis qu'on a agi et on va continuer d'agir avec une très grande sensibilité et un très grand respect pour le monde agricole. que nous allons continuer de consulter jusqu'à ce qu'on soit capable d'annoncer le tracé précis. Nous allons être à l'écoute des milieux, dont le monde agricole.
Que pensez-vous de M. Poilievre qui dit on s'oppose à ça parce que c'est pas bon pour le milieu agricole? C'est un prétexte?
Oui. M. Poilievre, qui veut un oléoduc à tout prix et veut qu'on l'approuve aujourd'hui même, sans qu'on en sache quelques détails très, très importants, dit maintenant craindre qu'un autre projet n'a pas toutes les réponses qu'il souhaite avoir. Pour lui, c'est un exercice politique. Moi, je crois plutôt que le Canada est capable d'adopter et se donner cette technologie que l'Occident tout entier possède, que l'Asie possède et que même le Maroc est en train de construire. Donc, M. Poilievre, encore une fois, voit les limites au Canada. Nous croyons dans un Canada sans bornes.
Il dit ce matin que vous faites une bonne job pour dérailler votre propre projet. Qu'est-ce que vous répondez à ça?
Moi, avec les résultats de la dernière année, je ne suis pas sûr que M. Poilievre est un bon juge de succès.
Ministre MacKinnon, Air Canada.
Les gens de l'Alto d'aller dans la municipalité, il y a des municipalités qui refusent les drones de voler au-dessus. Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez dire sur le climat? Vous, ça fait?
Moi, je pense que nous avons fait preuve d'un grand respect, d'une grande écoute. Nous savons qu'il y a des sensibilités. Nous savons que nous devrons être à l'écoute des gens. Je comprends le sentiment des agriculteurs face à leur terrain, à leur ferme. Je suis moi-même issu d'une famille agricole, donc je comprends ces préoccupations-là et on va les traiter une par une.
There's so much international attention on the Air Canada pilot that was able to fly without proper licensing. Are you worried about Canada's reputation in regards to this matter, and what are you going to do in terms of tightening regulations, ensuring that this doesn't happen again?
Well, we are, Air Canada is a victim of an alleged fraud. I want to first thank the Peel Region Police for following up on a complaint that my department, in fact, made about this individual. We, of course, will always use incidents to try and continuously improve our processes. I'm grateful that this person was caught, but this person perpetrated, allegedly, a fraud on his employer. And by extension on the people that are entrusted to his care. That is a very serious matter and we're treating it extremely seriously.
Ministre, en ce moment, le projet de TGV est évalué entre 60 et 90 milliards par an. C'est des projections, mais est-ce que vous pouvez garantir aujourd'hui que ce projet-là ne dépassera pas 90 voire 100 milliards?
Vous savez, construire de tels projets implique une planification approfondie de l'ingénierie. Pour ne donner qu'un exemple, là où on va mettre une gare peut influencer, et de beaucoup, le coût ou l'estimation qui est donnée pour un tronçon d'un projet. N'ayant pas encore choisi le tracé précis, final, vous pouvez imaginer qu'il reste des inconnus, voire des impondérables. Nous faisons le travail, c'est pour ça justement que nous accélérons le processus de planification et d'ingénierie pour pouvoir fournir des estimations plus précises. Donc, pour l'instant, nous allons avec la fourchette de... Moi, je n'irai pas là, des possibles, des ci et des ça. Moi, je vais avec des chiffres, des plans, des devis qui sont devant moi et qui sont estimés avec les meilleures techniques. J'ai déjà rencontré des agriculteurs.
Mais ils viennent là sur la colline à midi.
Je ne suis pas au courant que j'ai reçu une invitation. Je vois que des députés de l'opposition ont reçu une invitation. Je ne suis pas au courant, mais je ne m'empêcherai pas d'aller à la rencontre du monde agricole, des organisations agricoles. Je les ai rencontrés plusieurs fois et je continuerai de le faire.
Can you respond to the question in regards to high-speed rail? Specifically, if there is no Quebec support, it could not go ahead. Is that sort of do you agree with
That
that?
is not what I said.
No, but I'm asking you just front. Is that an opinion? Do you agree with that or not?
This is a project, a formidable nation-building project that includes Quebec. And of course, were it not to include Quebec, then there's really no project. But it is a federal project. It is a very ambitious federal project that we will continue pursuing on the accelerated timeline that we've described.
Sur les médias sociaux, M. MacKinnon, pourquoi 16 ans? Puis craignez-vous pas que ça fasse comme en Australie avec cette nouvelle
Quelle nouvelle
pour interdire les médias sociaux aux jeunes âgés en bas de 16 ans?
Je vais m'en mettre au
Mais vous
ministre.
craignez pas que ça fasse comme en Australie?
Je
Vous
vais
n'avez pas
m'en
une
mettre.
opinion là-dessus?
Ben oui, j'ai une opinion. J'ai une opinion qu'on a un très bon projet de loi qui s'en vient.
I wish I knew the answer to that question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're scheduled to finish on the 19th, but you know how it goes every June. Lots of speculation, and we don't know until we know. So, you know.
What can the Prime Minister get done in Ireland? What increased collaboration can Canada do with that country?
Look, the relationship between Canada and Ireland has always been strong. It's never been stronger than it is now. I mean, Ireland is the English-speaking gateway to Europe, and our relationship with Europe is incredibly important. Our relationship with Ireland is incredibly important. If you look at the trade numbers in the last 6 years since the provisional implementation of CETA, it's gone like that. There's lots to do.
Should the gun buyback program be scrapped now that it's been delayed again? Like, is it a lost cause?
Just talk to somebody else about that.
Can you talk about broadly about the need to protect, we're expecting legislation today, and I can't quote specifics, but the need to protect children from online harm?
Look, I don't know anything about the legislation, let's be clear, but I think protecting children online and offline is critically important, so I'll wait and see what the legislation looks like, and I'm sure it's going to address those issues.
What's the top things that need to be accomplished in Ireland?
Poor guy's stuck in the elevator. That's a better story than talking to me.
What's the top couple of things that need to be accomplished in Ireland?
Signing CETA, ratifying it. Ireland's going to ratify CETA, is my understanding, I hope. When the Taoiseach was here in September, his goal was to get it ratified this year. I think the Prime Minister's attendance in Dublin will be a perfect time to get that done, don't you? Yeah.
Can I ask you about the
What does it make the balancing between free trade and human rights when you're looking at possibly securing a deal with a country like Turkey?
You have to balance both. It's as simple as that.
Can I ask you about the MAID committee? Have you reached conclusions on recommendations?
We had a meeting last night, it was an in-camera meeting. The report will be coming out within the coming days or week, I suspect.
So you're still on track to release it by the time the House gets
I
up?
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I have kids on social media, 2 daughters on social media, and I'm following this closely. I'm hoping that I haven't seen the legislation yet either, but hoping there's something, because it can certainly be a bit of a scary place for kids these days.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, I find a lot of the stories that actually you end up reporting on, that when I look, I'm like, oh wow, that's scary. I have no idea what's going on my daughter's Instagram or Snapchat. So I'm hoping that get this right, and then we'll see, hopefully today, what it actually looks like.
Are they under 16?
They're not under 16 anymore. Yeah. One's 17. She just graduated from high school.
Security restrictions are under 16, and there's a lot of conversations about child luring, but also about ChatGPT and AI chatbots coaching people when it comes to eating disorders, when it comes to suicide attempts. What are you thinking about when you're on those topics?
I think, you know, some of the child luring stuff is really scary. We live very public lives too, in being members of Parliament, and went through a period where my girls were getting messages online from people that I don't know. So it's something that I'm certainly passionate to kind of see where it unfolds. We're talking a lot about Alberta separatism, so I'll leave those conversations to caucus.
It is an issue with Alberta separatism. I mean, Premier Danielle Smith.
Well, you know, certainly there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the implementation agreement and Alberta separatism. So those are yet one of the things.
Removing it would perhaps. What are your thoughts on the social media? Would you support a ban for kids under 16?
I think what's really important is making sure that we're keeping our kids online safe. I've got a teenager as well. I'm just really concerned about what exposure they have, the impacts that it has on their mental health. So continuing to support safety for kids online. Thank you so
How
much.
realistic is that? How realistic? We've seen in Australia kids are just skirting.
Again, we're just focused on making sure that kids are kept online safe. We see the impacts it has on girls, on the 2S LGBTQI+ community, and I think the more that we can do to keep our kids safe online is really important for Canadians. And also, the final thing I'll say is I've spoken to parents in my constituency office. They're feeling really helpless, so this is a tool that will help ensure that we can keep them safe online.
Is the competition going far enough beyond
Thank you
social
so
media and general elections? I mean, there is a leadership race. Your name is not in the hat yet. There are a few names, though.
Yeah.
Do you have faith in the process?
I think it would be a good idea if the Ontario Liberal Party followed the federal party and limited voting to citizens and permanent residents.
The recommendations will come out on the 17th.
On the 17th of June?
Yes.
And did you decide them last night?
I can't comment.
Okay, thank you.
Your third time you had a Heritage Month, private members bill. I think you did Ukrainian, since you are of Ukrainian descent yourself, Albanian, and now Somali. However, with the Somali Heritage Month, private members bill, you seem to be getting a large online reaction. Why do you think that is?
You know, I have to look into it more before I can really determine what the cause of that reaction is. But at the end of the day, we live in a diverse country. We have people from around the world who immigrated to this country, who contribute to this country, who make Canada the best country in the world. The heritage bills that I've introduced, that other members have introduced in the past in this House of Commons over the years, over the decades, have been a way of celebrating those contributions that these communities are making to Canada. That's my intention. And so I'll have to look into the comments exactly and dissect that a little bit more before I can answer that.
What's the threshold for you to throw up a heritage mark for a cultural community or for an diaspora in Canada? I mean, the smaller population is about 0.2% of the population, or 0.18% of the population. The Albanian community is around the same amount. How much is too much in terms of that kind of representation?
For me, my first priority is to the people of Etobicoke Centre. And in my community of Etobicoke Centre, the Albanian community, the Somali community, the Ukrainian community, the Polish community, these are significant communities who have made great contributions to Etobicoke Centre, but they've also made great contributions to Canada. And I think, look, members of all parties, Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, have in the past introduced and passed Heritage Month bill as just a way of showing respect, support, but really celebrating contributions, and that's what this is about. And I think, look, I think we live in the greatest country in the world. All of these communities, whether it's 0.2% or 3% or 2%, or whatever the percentage happens to be, have contributed, and those contributions are part of what makes Canada great. And I just wanted to celebrate some of those contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any new assurances on the Gordie Howe Bridge?
This is breaking. Trump is saying he's not looking to renew CUSMA. I'm just looking at the quote here. I'm not looking to renew it. This is Trump. I don't know, I made the deal, and the primary reason I made the deal is that NAFTA was the worst deal I've ever seen, and I made it better, but I had the right to terminate, and NAFTA, we didn't have the right to terminate. So, he's pretty clear there.
That's pretty stream of consciousness, yeah.
Well, your thoughts on that? I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that's some pretty serious stuff right now.
Look, I would say I think the government has been really clear. We are focused on working collaboratively to get the best deal possible, but we aren't going to jump into a deal just for the sake of it. It's got to be what's best for Canadians, and in the meantime, we're going to continue to build up our economy in the most resilient way. I think that's exactly the right approach, and we will do everything we can to deal with a volatile and irrational president.
Isn't some form of a deal better than nothing, though? Or
it depends. Depends on the nature of the deal. We have a baseline right now, and so it depends on what the alternative is, right? And so I think you scrutinize what the alternative could be, and you go from there. But look, in the same way we renegotiated NAFTA, and some of it was better, some of it was worse. But overall, it was a deal that we were willing to stand by. I think if from the get-go It was a conversation from the president to say, oh, I want to renegotiate, and these are the terms, and then you could have a constructive conversation. But like you just read something that, 2 weeks ago he said something different, and 2 weeks before that he said something different, 2 weeks before that he said something different. So we'll see what he says in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you so much.